Hello, thanks for joining me. I'm the Badger Reborn, and today I'm going to talk about the Wheel of Time TV show, and changes and rewrites that could happen for episodes 6 and 7 of Season 1. This video will have spoilers for The Eye of the World and The Great Hunt. If you haven't finished those books, finish them up quickly and then come back and watch this video. To quickly recap where we are, Rand, Euron, and Loial have recently arrived in Andor hunting the Horn of Villier. Perrin, Verin, and the rest of the group has not joined them yet, but they're on their way. Moraine is studying with Karine Nagashi, and Nynaeve and Egwene are on their way back to the White Tower with Swan. Before we go any further, if you could hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, I would really appreciate it. Also, if you want to leave a comment below on what you think about these rewrites and changes, and what changes you might want to make yourself, I would love it. Rand, Loial, and Euron continue into Caemlyn, where they stop at the Queen's Blessing. Rand ventures out and explores the city, just trying to find the group if they've arrived yet, and also just see some of the sights. He gets the red cord for his sword and meets Min, who works at an inn. This allows us to cut Baerlon out of the plot, just to save an extra location, save some time and money, but also get Min introduced in a way that fits pretty well with the story, I think. Min, by the way, is essential. I would be really upset if they cut her, but I don't think we have to worry about that. She'll definitely be in the show, even though an actor hasn't been announced for her yet. However, kind of keeping with my theory that the Caemlyn part hasn't been shot yet, since no Elaine has been announced, no Galad, no Gawain, no Morgase, I think it kind of makes sense that no Min has been announced either if this is the part of the show that they haven't shot yet. All of it could kind of happen at the same time and in the same location. This fits pretty well with the story anyway, since Min lives in Andor, she works at an inn. This is just changing it from Baerlon to Caemlyn, and I think that fits pretty well too. Logain, meanwhile, is being carried around in the cage by Leandrin, if she's with the group, and the other Reds. They bring him into Caemlyn, into the city itself, to show him off to Queen Morgase, and they parade him through the streets just like they do in The Eye of the World. Rand hears rumors about this and wants to see Logain, just like in the books. He climbs up the wall and kind of locks eyes with Logain across the city. I think it would be really cool if we saw this scene from Rand's point of view, seeing Logain in the cage and how powerful he looks to Rand. And then if we also saw it from Logain's point of view, seeing Rand across the city, that'd be pretty neat as well, I think. Rand falls over the wall and meets Elaine, Galad, Gawain, and Talonvor, and then meets Morgase, Elaida, and Gareth Bryn. This scene, I hope, plays out very, very similar to how it does in the books, especially the part where Elaida comes over and notices Rand's hair and marked sword, and all the guards freak out, thinking they're about to die. That's such a fun scene. At this point in the show, Rand would be kind of hustled out of the palace because Logain is on his way in, and Morgase needs to meet with the Aes Sedai and see Logain. These changes would mean that Rand is meeting Min and Elaine in very short succession in the same episode, which is a bit of a change from the books, but not a huge change. However, I think this could work pretty well for the non-book readers, the fans who are watching the show, or the viewers who are watching the show for the first time. It will kind of up the shipping of, is Rand going to be with Min? Is Rand going to be with Elaine? Is Rand going to be with Egwene? Little do they know. Rand then goes back to the inn and finds Verin, Ingtar, Perrin, Mat, and the rest of the Shienarans. We'd also get a quick shot in this episode of Moraine and Lan leaving Karine Nagashi's place and heading towards Tommen Head. Moraine, of course, knows that she needs to go to Tommen Head because of the prophecy that was left in the walls of Faldara, so she can just go directly there without having to really stop and do anything along the way. Meanwhile, Egwene and Nynaeve arrive in Tar Valon. They see the city, which is absolutely spectacular looking. I think this would be a really great way for the episode to end, but also for Amazon to really show off some of the money they put into the show and some of the great special effects that they have. I'm not really sure how they're going to do the effects for Tar Valon because it's such a unique city. It has such an interesting look with the Ogre-built curves of sea waves and trees and shells and all of the things that look almost alive in the way Robert Jordan described it. I've never seen or heard of a city in real life that looks like that, so I'm not sure how they're going to do it, but I'm really looking forward to it. It might be really spectacular. Once they arrive in Tar Valon, Nynaeve goes through the accepted test procedure. We get to see the really cool alternate futures. The casting agency has already put out a call for twin babies, or maybe just one baby with another one for a backup. So I think they could be Nynaeve's baby in one of those future visions. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that plays out. The accepted test is a really exciting and fun scene, and I hope we get to see it play out just like it does in the books, or at least very similar. And I think it could also fit with what's going on with Rand and that group, who are about to enter the Portal Stone and experience the Flicker scene. And this could be a good way to end episode 6. It's a little bit slower episode after the last one being a lot of action on both the Logain front and the Rand front at the Eye of the World. Episode 6 is titled The Flame of Tar Valon. And I think this could fit perfectly with Egwene and Nynaeve arriving and seeing how spectacular Tar Valon is, and then Nynaeve being told that she's going to test for accepted immediately. So then moving into episode 7, its title has not yet been revealed. Technically it's just a rumor that there will even be an episode 7 and also 8, but there have been a lot of rumors and leaks that lead to this being a pretty likely conclusion, including the casting agency accidentally or possibly accidentally putting that on a casting call last week. Not having an episode title definitely makes it more difficult to speculate on what number 7 might be about, but I think really kind of getting through a large chunk of the Great Hunt, even though we're definitely cut out some things, I think that might be the way they're going. I think a really interesting and fun scene that could be added here, this would be kind of an addition I'm making, having Loghain's followers attack the palace in Camelin, trying to free him. This could just lead to some real tension in the episode, but it could also lead to an even more serious scene where Elaida decides to make an executive decision to gentle Loghain on the spot. This would disperse his followers because they would obviously lose hope in him being the Dragon Reborn. I know this is going to be a controversial idea, and I'm not married to it, so just kind of a suggestion that I think could really add some drama and some action as well to this part of the story. This would also reveal a lot about Elaida's character. She's not afraid to make what she views as tough decisions, though some people might just view them as wrong and misguided decisions. She also hates male channelers with a passion and has no remorse. I think one thing that Wheel of Time might struggle with a little bit, or at least have to make an intentional effort to address, is that Elaida is not Cersei. I think they are going to have some similarities in that they're both powerful women who are kind of presented as the bad guy character. They're both very tough and make a lot of controversial decisions. They're going to have to do something to really give Elaida a personality of her own. I think she has that in the book, but the writing team's going to have to do a great job of really showing what makes Elaida unique and special as a character. I think they can do it. In this episode, we focus a lot on Loghain and then also the surrounding things. So the Red Aja brings him to Tar Valon, along with Elaine, Galad, and Gawain, who are going there to train as well. This party travels pretty quickly and covers ground pretty rapidly to get up there with Loghain so that he's secure. Once they arrive, Elaine meets Nynaeve and Egwene, and they become friends pretty quickly. This puts them all in the same place along with Leandrin, so that Leandrin can bring them off towards Tomenhead. So in Camelin, Rand and the group decide not to use the Ways because of Machin Shin and the danger it presents. Instead, they'll follow Padan Fain trying to use a portal stone. I think this episode could have almost a Twilight Zone type of feel, with Rand experiencing so many different potential outcomes. Flicker is one of my favorite scenes of the whole series. I really hope they do it justice, show a lot of really crazy Rand alternate futures where things play out differently to how they do in the real story, but in really exciting, fun, unique ways. Like when he joins Elaine's bodyguard and leads those soldiers while channeling during the battle. That's such a fun, cool scene while he's physically decaying and falling apart from the taint on the power. I really hope we see that kind of thing in the show. It's a little bit gruesome, but it's also fun. Now, one problem this does present, Rand and the group are way ahead of the Nynaeve and Egwene timeline from where it should be right now. So this will have to be fixed by kind of focusing on Nynaeve and Egwene a little bit more, or maybe my plot has just kind of gone a little bit wrong in terms of timeline, and the Rand story should have been slowed down a little bit. That could totally work too. By the way, early on I kind of teased the Gareth Bryn and Elias Makira merging. I'm not sure that actually makes sense anymore, but one I do think could make sense is a merging of Galad Damodred and Dane Bornhold. If you sort of combine their stories, I think it could work pretty well. I definitely don't know that they would do this for the TV show, but if you have Galad be Morghase's son, but his father is a White Cloak commander, he joins the White Cloaks early on and leaves Camelin and works with them early in the story. Maybe he's back in Andor when Rand travels through there, or maybe he's just not in that scene at all. I think it can kind of shift both stories together and make one more fleshed out character. I think, by the way, that's a good reason to combine characters in the show. We know they can't have the hundreds and hundreds of characters that Robert Jordan gives so much life to, but combining several plot lines from some of them could be a great way to make really, really strong characters. I don't know that this would necessarily be the best one to do, but I think it could be an interesting combination for sure. I think, by the way, we could have had Min hitch a ride with the group going up to Tar Valon because she wants to see the sights and kind of explore a different part of the world. Then she meets Egwene, Nynaeve, and Elaine in the tower, and they become friends. When Leandrin takes them all into the Portal Stone, Min tags along just like she does in the book. And I think episode 7 could end with the four of them being attacked by the Shan-Chan and Egwene being captured. So, to recap, since I know that was a little bit all over the place, Rand and the group are still experiencing the Portal Stone visions, kind of starting early in the episode and continuing throughout the episode. Nynaeve, Elaine, and Egwene, along with Min, have left Tarvalin, gone to Toman Head with Leandrin, and Egwene has been captured there. Another potential change that I wonder if they might make is adding some scenes of the Forsaken, or possibly Padden Fane, just to kind of give a little bit more insight into those characters. So perhaps a scene showing Lanfear, or Ishamael, or Padden Fane and Toman Head. We already get a little bit of the Padden Fane and Toman Head. I think they'll definitely have that. Padden Fane talking to Turok, who's the Shan-Chan Lord, and Bail Doman being there as well, with his sealed to the Dark One's prison. That's a really great scene that I always kind of forget about that happening in the books, but I think that could be definitely a great scene for the show, just kind of seeing those three totally different personalities and totally different characters in the same place. Episode 8 is setting up for a really big finale to the season with some really large events and important events happening. With one episode left, you can probably kind of tell where I'm going in terms of the ending. We'll see if the show really goes that far into the books. I'm not sure if it will or not, but I think at the beginning, before I had kind of written this and planned it out, I was really apprehensive and thought there's no way that the show could get 2 entire books done in 8 episodes. But it doesn't really seem like it's going too entirely fast or cutting too entirely much out of the plot so far. So I think if it does do that, if it does do both Eye of the World and The Great Hunt in 8 episodes, I think it could be really good and I'd be really happy with it. We'll see how it goes though. I know Rafe and his writing team are way more talented at writing than I am, which is a great thing. So I'm really looking forward to see what they can do with the story, what changes they might make, what they'll leave the same. I think there'll be a lot more that they leave the same, but definitely some changes, and hopefully they're all upgrades and improvements. But we'll see. In the next video, I'm going to detail episode 8, which will be the final one of the season, obviously. And I also want to read some comments that people have left on previous videos and this one as well, just in terms of what you've thought about my changes or what changes you might want to make yourself. So if you've got some ideas, leave them below, and I'd love to read them out in the next episode. Also leave a comment on who your idea for some fan casts of the actors we haven't gotten yet. So, like for instance, when I talk about Lanfear, I don't have a person to put for her yet, so who do you think it might be? I'll add those in next time that I use those characters if we haven't gotten an actor reveal yet. Thanks for watching this video. Please share it with other people. I'd love for as many Wheel of Time fans to see it as possible, just kind of increasing the anticipation for the show and getting some thoughts out there about how it might go. By the way, I feel like kind of a bad person if I don't mention coronavirus, but I feel like I have a bit of a Matt Cawthon-like personality when dealing with things sometimes, so wash your hands, don't die. Hope to see you all next week. Thanks for watching my video. I put the artist names for the clips that I use in this video at the end, so make sure you watch and support those people. If you know who they are, you see them on social media. They make such amazing art for Wheel of Time, stuff that I would never be able to replicate, no matter how hard I tried. So thank you all for making that art. It's really fantastic, and keep making more.